had scars and anger in his eyes, and a history of biting anyone who came near him. Labeled as too dangerous to adopt, no one dared take him home, until one man did. What followed shocked everyone at the shelter, transforming the scariest dog in town into an unexpected hero. That afternoon, the shelter was unusually quiet. Rows of barking dogs echoed throughout the halls, except for the last kennel. Inside was a German shepherd, his eyes cold and unreadable, his face marked with scars. His name tag was simple: Titan, do not approach. New visitors hurried past. Families searching for a pet didn't even slow down near his cage. He didn't bark or beg. He just watched, as if he had seen it all and trusted nothing. Then came Noah. He wasn't looking for a playful puppy and wasn't sure what he was seeking. But when their eyes met, something clicked. It wasn't connection, it was recognition. The pain in Titan's gaze wasn't just anger, it was survival. "Stay away from that one," a volunteer warned. "He's unpredictable." Noah stepped forward. Anyway, Titan growled from deep within his chest, but Noah didn't flinch. He crouched down and softly whispered, "I know what it's like to be written off." Titan didn't move, but for the first time in weeks, his ears flicked forward. That was enough for Noah. The shelter supervisor met Noah with a concerned look, holding a thick folder. "Titan's not like the others," she began. "He's been returned 3 times, bitten 2 former owners, and even attacked a handler. He nearly broke through a steel gate once." She opened the folder, sliding it across the table. Inside were photos, torn leashes, destroyed kennels, and injury reports. Noah scanned them without hesitation. The supervisor leaned in. "We've considered putting him down multiple times, but something always held us back. He's not evil," she added after a pause. "He's just been through hell." Noah glanced up from the folder, calm. "And he's still here?" The supervisor blinked. In surprise, "Yes, but just barely. He doesn't scare me," Noah said quietly. "Pain does strange things to souls, human or not." The supervisor paused, then nodded. "If anyone's crazy enough to try, it might be you." Outside, Titan waited, still and silent. Noah didn't hesitate as he signed the adoption papers. The pen barely left the paper before the staff exchanged uneasy glances. "You'll need a reinforced leash," one of them said, "and a crate for emergencies." Titan was brought out wearing a thick muzzle, his body tense and his movements calculated. His eyes darted around, never resting in one place for long. Noah knelt down once and whispered, "Let's go home." The ride was silent. Titan didn't bark, didn't whine. He just stared out the window, like he was bracing for yet another disappointment. At the door to his new home, Noah paused. He looked at Titan, then slowly removed the muzzle. Titan didn't bite, didn't growl, he just stood there waiting. Noah stepped aside and opened the door. "You're free to leave," he said softly, "but I hope you stay." Titan walked in. The first night was far from peaceful. Titan paced the floor for hours, his nails clicking against the wood like a ticking clock. Every sound, a creak, a passing car, made him jump, ready to defend or destroy. Noah gave him space, no commands, no expectations. Around midnight, a lamp crashed to the floor. Titan had lunged at his own reflection, sending shards of glass flying. He growled, cornered himself, eyes wild with panic. Noah remained still, his hands low and his voice calm. "It's just you," he whispered. "It's okay now." Titan didn't calm, but he didn't bite either. Later, as Noah lay on the couch, Titan stood at the edge of the hallway watching. For nearly an hour he stayed silent. Then, without a sound, he curled up by the doorway. Not out of trust, not yet, but out of exhaustion and perhaps curiosity. Next morning, Noah looked over the adoption folder again. This time it wasn't to be warned, but to understand. Inside were vet notes, behavioral reports, and a faded photo of Titan as a puppy, his ribs visible, chained to a rusted fence. Noah stared at it for a long time. One report described a man who trained Titan using pain, shock collars, starvation, and isolation. Another said Titan had once been locked in a basement for days, with no light. The last owner had returned him after a single growl. Too dangerous, the note read. Unfixable. Noah closed the folder, his hands trembling slightly. Later in the afternoon, he sat by the fireplace, the folder still beside him. Titan lay across the room, eyes half closed. Noah didn't speak. He just looked at him, not with fear, but with something new. Empathy. "You survived everything," he whispered. Titan didn't move, but his ears turned toward Noah's voice. "It happened during a thunderstorm. The sky split with lightning, and a deafening crack rolled through the house. Titan shot up, chest heaving, eyes wild. His body pressed into a corner, tail tucked, muscles coiled tight. Noah moved carefully, not to spook him, and sat cross-legged on the floor. "It's okay," he whispered again and again as the storm raged outside. Minutes passed. Then Titan crept forward, one paw, then another, trembling but moving. He didn't lie beside Noah, not yet, but placed his paw just barely on Noah's knee before retreating. Noah didn't react. He didn't smile. He just let the silence wrap around them. That night, Titan didn't sleep in the hallway. He lay, near the couch, not in fear, but perhaps in fragile hope. It was supposed to be a normal walk. The sun had just begun to dip behind the trees, casting long shadows along the quiet street. Noah held the leash loosely, Titan walking calmly beside him. The dog's posture had softened over the weeks, less tense, more curious. It felt like progress. Then it happened. A stranger sprinted out from behind a van, shouting, "Help! Someone's breaking into my house!" At that moment, a masked figure appeared, charging directly toward Noah and the man. Titan snapped into action. Without hesitation, without command, he leaped and placed himself between Noah and the oncoming figure. Teeth bared, he growled with terrifying force. The intruder stumbled, tripped, and froze. Titan didn't attack. He just stood his ground, unmoving, eyes locked. Seconds later, neighbors called the police. The intruder fled. Sirens wailed in the distance. When Noah knelt beside Titan, his hands shook. The dog looked back, not wild, not afraid, but calm and certain. Noah whispered, "You protected me." Titan licked his hand once and sat beside him. That night, the street saw a monster transform into a guardian, and trust finally felt real. By morning, the neighborhood was buzzing. Word of Titan's actions had spread fast. The dangerous dog had stopped a break-in. Photos surfaced online of Titan standing tall, eyes alert with Noah beside him. The story went viral. Headlines read, "Feared shelter dog becomes local hero." People who once crossed the street to avoid him now waved from their porches. Some even approached cautiously, asking, "Is it true? Can I pet him?" Titan, once rigid and cold, now responded with calm eyes and a quiet tail wag. The shelter called, stunned by the transformation. "We never thought he'd make it," they said. "We were wrong." Noah smiled. He was never broken, just buried. Schools invited them to speak. Adoption rates soared, and dogs once labeled unadoptable found homes. Titan hadn't just changed, he had changed everyone else. One quiet evening, Noah sat on the porch, Titan resting beside him. "He was never dangerous," Noah said softly, stroking the dog's ear. "He just learned to survive in a world that never gave him a chance." Titan looked up briefly, then settled back down with a sigh. The world had misjudged him, not because he was cruel, but because he had been hurt too many times. Sometimes the scariest souls are just the ones who've had to fight the hardest to feel.